Something is awakening inside of Black women, a quiet but undeniable knowing that we're meant for more than survival, more than sacrifice, more than endurance, more than carrying everyone else's expectations while putting our own dreams on hold. A realization that the life we've been taught to accept may not be the life we're meant to live, and that there may be more freedom, more peace, more joy, and more possibility available to us than we've ever imagined. Because once you realize you have options, everything changes. Close your eyes and imagine living a life you love, unapologetic and unbothered, free from daily microaggressions from Karens and Kens, free from the fear of police brutality and systemic racism. Wouldn't that feel amazing? Now open your eyes. What if I told you that it's possible? Hear inspiring stories and get the actual blueprints from brothers and sisters of the diaspora who are living out their wildest dreams abroad. You've heard the term, now be inspired by the movement. I'm Krishan Wright, and this is Blaxit Global. Welcome to the Season 6 finale of the Blaxit Global podcast. And it's been a little bit of a challenge to do this episode because every time I've recorded it, I've had to re-record it because America be America-ing. And if you live in America and you listen to this podcast, you know exactly what I mean. As I record this today, it is now safe to say, because assuming nothing will change, nothing will change, no thing will change, that Vice President Kamala Harris has now selected Governor Walz to be her running mate for the Democratic ticket. Obviously, a lot has happened since the start of this season in January to today. I won't spend time going into all of it. All what I will say is it is time to get out. Because, you know, America be America-ing. And if you are listening to this podcast and you live in America, you know exactly what I mean. Some people might think like, oh, wow, you know, maybe I can stick it out. But I have been consistent on this platform, and it's hard to believe that next year Blaxit Global will be 5 years old. And personally, I was on this journey to move abroad. Well, one, most of my life, but two, recommitted to it in 2017. And I made the move to Lisbon, Portugal in 2023, which means when I made the decision, we were under one administration. And when I decided to leave, we were under another administration. And so what that means is if you have a calling on your heart and you believe that this is the right decision for you, it honestly doesn't matter who sits in the Oval Office, right? Because you have to be clear, and I'll say it again and again on this platform, you have to be clear on your why. You have to be clear on your why you want to move abroad, and you have to be clear on what you want in the next version of your life, the next chapter. And again, that doesn't really change with who's in the White House. I will say that probably you might sleep better with one versus the other. But honestly, the way I feel about it is the Harris-Walz administration, should they come, I think would be a great thing for the country. America has to dial back a lot of the temperature and the rancor and the divisiveness. But the challenge is that there are still fundamental things that are wrong with America that did not change with the Biden-Harris administration, right? We still saw the rolling back of DEI, the rolling back of things that were under precedence like Roe v. Wade, among other things. And we still have a Supreme Court that has been compromised in a lot of ways. And they have lifetime appointments. And we also see where our electorate is still very fragile. We live in a system that while your candidate might win the popular vote, the Electoral College can change that outcome, as we saw in 2016. The Supreme Court can intervene, much like they did in 2000, right? And so when you have a political system that is archaic, as the United States is, where wildly enough, you can use your phone, your cell phone, and your computer to vote for the next American Idol, but for the highest office in the land, you have, this very clunky system where some people can register to vote online, some people can vote by mail, all of these different things. There's no uniformity. These are things that are pervasive. These are things that need to fundamentally change. We need to be able to talk freely about race and identity in the United States in order to start the healing process, to have dialogue that ultimately will lead to solution on a variety of topics, right? And for that reason, I encourage people not to get complacent, but to have your plan A and your plan B, irrespective of the outcome of November's election. One of the things that I've been able to do in my time that I'm nearing almost a year now in Portugal, it's very hard to believe, I have been able to enjoy a lot of beauty in this country. I recently visited Alentejo, and shortly after my birthday, I went down to Algarve. I've been up north to Porto and done some magnificent things and some epic things. Some of you have seen my big birthday yacht party. It was definitely something that I'd been planning for 2 years, but the ability to charter a yacht for the evening and celebrate with 20 people was amazing. I also held in June, along with our Black Utopia, a beautiful meetup, a 2-day meetup with over 100 people who came to Portugal. Some people, it was their first time. Some people were looking to move. Some people were traveling. And there were some people that I've coached along the way that live in other countries that just wanted to hang out. But it was a beautiful thing. And what we all realized is that it took having community, having support, having representation, and believing that it's possible to make that happen. When you're able to be in an environment where you can breathe freely, where you can allow your shoulders to rest, allow your chest to expand, your mind to be quiet, the anxiety to allay, the depression and cloud to lift. It is a beautiful thing. But I also can't ignore that a good 6 or 7 months of my time here has been spent going back and forth to doctors and getting some of the crooked places straight again. By that I mean I had to spend a lot of time focusing on reparative work with my body and noticing things like tightness in my shoulder and going to physical therapy for my face and having a masseuse come work on me regularly. Ultimately, I wound up doing Pilates for 6 months now, and it has taken time, between the sedentary lifestyle that I lived, having gone through COVID like everyone else for the better part of 2.5 years, to now being where I can walk daily 10 to 15,000 steps a day and enjoy this beautiful country. But honestly, if I were in America, while I had the multiple 6-figure income and a nice bank account, guess what? It's expensive to live in America. It's expensive to get healthcare in America, even the quote unquote best healthcare. Being here in Portugal, as well as being able to travel the world, and I have a location independent business, I'm able to not worry about if I feel sick or if I have a catastrophic event or just want to get a checkup. It's not a budget buster. Going to get my teeth clean without insurance and let's see, I got my teeth cleaned recently and an x-ray. Thankfully, I do have insurance. My insurance is not tied to my employment, unlike America. And for my digital nomads and my freelancers, as well as those seeking sabbatical or planning to move abroad, the beauty and the unlock for me was hearing just that. Hearing from people who are like, wait a minute, you can actually leave your job or work for yourself and it's not a potential death sentence. You're able to travel the world. I'm able to travel the world and know that wherever I am, if I need medical treatment for something that may go awry or routine care, I don't have to worry. Hey there, career sabbatical folks, remote workers, and digital nomads. This one is for you. How do you stay safe while hopping from country to country? What happens when you get sick, have an accident, or lose your passport? Safety Wing has got you covered. They offer travel medical insurance designed specifically for freelancers, remote workers, and digital nomads. Wherever you are in the world, you're protected with one simple policy. Safety Wing's mission is to create a global safety net for everyone, no matter where they're from. It's a monthly subscription, so you're always covered and you can cancel at any time. And here's some exciting news. Safety Wing just launched a new version of their Nomad insurance with 0 deductible and a quick 5-minute claims process. Plus, no pre-approval is needed, and it only takes 5 minutes to purchase. You can do it the same day you fly out or even if your trip has already started. Got your attention? Are you interested? Check out the link in the show notes of this episode and save it for your next trip. Or you can buy it if you're already traveling. And that's why I'm really excited and glad about our partnership with Safety Wing, because that is one of the things that people worry most about. Being able to go and focus on my health and not have to ask for permission to take time off to deal with something or the expense, it's not a worry. I know people who are getting all types of care abroad, whether it be cancer treatment, treatment for autoimmune disorders, to x-rays and preventive care. And what they don't have is worry. And what everyone has said to me, regardless of where they are in their journey, and I mean like age-wise, they've all said, I wish I'd done it sooner. No one has said, oh, wow, yeah, this is cool, but this life isn't for me. Maybe I'll try again in like 10 or 20 years. I haven't met a person to say that yet. Everyone who has made this leap has said, I wish I had done it sooner. Because when I think about my life in Portugal, or better yet, let me say this differently. When I think about my life abroad versus my life in the US, where I had my family or I had friends, I will say my life there was very lonely. And I realized it was because everybody was doing the same thing, trying to keep their head above water, regardless, right? The older people, they're seeing how exorbitant things are in cost. They're being squeezed financially. They're being oftentimes the victim of online predators trying to either steal their information, manipulate them, and take advantage, all the way to young couples just starting out and seeing what was always marketed to them as the American dream, realizing that it is just that. It's a dream. It's elusive. To people like me in the sandwich generation, right? You have children in college or about to go to college, and then you have your aging parent. And you then also have to carve out, a life for yourself and a retirement. And then the people that are in the workforce now, regardless of their family composition, some have children, some do not, but those that have children are also balancing the responsibilities of childcare, the cost of childcare, and just their day to day living. And everyone is feeling that. When I went back to the States in April, all I saw was a lot of anger. It's like just under the surface. People that are unsatisfied with their lives, their jobs. And so everything, one little thing can set them off. It's like an infection. And if the adults feel this way, the children do too, right? We see more and more children who are really, experiencing a lot of the same things and partaking in escapism, whether it's gaming, spending, exorbitant amounts of time online where they can be subject to, bullying, to predators, to anything. It's a whole different world. And so when I see people make that courageous decision to move abroad, whether or not they have a family, but especially when they have a family with small children, I'm like, you are literally changing your generational tree. And I'm not saying that there is a utopia out there, right? There isn't a perfect country. Every country has its challenges. But what I can tell you is that the challenges that America is facing have global implications. And so while there is comfort in distance, I also recognize that with the US being a global superpower, that anything that goes on over there still impacts me over here, right? That's just how it is. And it didn't mean that I shouldn't go, or if something goes left that I should return. No, it makes me, the longer I'm abroad, the more committed I am to this life, the more committed I am to helping other people achieve that same thing. So much so is that this past week I welcomed the first of our Nomad Noir cohort. And so these particular ladies will be spending 3 weeks with me as their scout and guide, getting to know what life is like living in Portugal. And as soon as they are gone, I'm ushering in the 1 week cohort and going through neighborhoods, seeing different homes, getting to know what life is like in terms of, as I mentioned before, healthcare, the legal side in terms of visas and everything, to really paint a fuller picture. And the ladies today went on the African Lisbon tour with Naki, and really the goal of that is to make sure that when you go to a place that you do go eyes wide open. It's not to hide a dark past. It is to confront the darkness with your light and go in eyes wide open. As we move further into the latter part of 2024 and approach, like I said, the election in 2025, I do so with a sense of renewed commitment, of course. Nomad Noir will be coming back in 2025. And so if you are interested in moving to Portugal, you most certainly can look in the show notes for this episode, and you can click the link and join our wait list. I'm also going to be co-hosting yet again the Move to Portugal Virtual Summit. And so you can find the link for that wait list also in the show notes. Like I said, get in community. Find out more about what it means and what it could look like if you made this decision? What if you got a job online? What if you decided to go out on your own and all you needed to do was get healthcare, right? And for those of you who are interested in the products that Safety Wing has to offer, you can click the link in the show notes of this episode. But like I said, I remain even more committed to encouraging people wherever they are in the world to leave. Geopolitical events affect us. And honestly, I realize now living abroad and talking to people from different cultures on a daily basis that there are more things that we have in common than those that separate us. And so it is incumbent upon us to get out, to clear our minds from the noise and the filter from which the information that we get comes in, and to use critical thinking, wisdom, and discernment to get us further along on that path. You don't have to just look at the outside of someone else's life and wish that for yourself. You can take inspired action and do that. Your debt has already been paid for. Now it's time to live. So with that, be well, be safe, and take flight. Thank you for listening to the Blaxit Global podcast. For more information on today's episode, be sure to visit our website at blaxitglobal.com. It's not only possible to live out your dreams unbothered and in full color, it is your birthright. This episode of the Blaxit Global podcast is sponsored by Blaxit Global Passport. At some point, the question stops being, can I move abroad? And becomes, what's possible for my life? Passport is where Black women from around the world come together to explore new possibilities, navigate life abroad, and create lives that feel bigger than the ones they were told to settle for. Because the goal was never just to move. The goal is to expand what feels possible. Visit blaxitglobal.com and click community to begin your next chapter.